Mother Teresa or Dr. Seuss Gandhi, is it possible that these enlightened historical figures were total scumbags? That's what we try to decide here on Scumbags of History, where we pick through the dirty underwear piles of lesser-known historical facts about famous people society has put on a pedestal. We're your hosts, confirmed scumbags. Society. We're your hosts, confirmed scumbags, Mateen, Stewart,
and Brittany, Schmitt.
We're comedians, not historians, so we're probably going to get some stuff wrong from time to time. So make sure you guys do not use us as a reference on your research papers. Let's get started, scumbags.
Let's go.
Let's go.
I'm talking about scumbags of history. Talking about these people suck ass. They were pieces of shit. They still pieces of shit. Scumbags of history. Scumbags of history.
Okay, here we are.
Shoo-whoop.
We are back with another episode here of Scumbags of History. And today, Brittany, we are talking about the hardest working man in showbiz, Mr. James Brown. He's saying this is a man's world, but wouldn't be nothing without a woman or a girl. Mm-hmm. And given the amount of times James hit women, he probably saying that at least a couple of times immediately after beating a woman
this is a
or a
man's
girl.
world.
This is a man's world. So shut the fuck up.
Yeah, he needed the girl to hit.
Yeah, he did. If you can't.
So it's nothing without a girl.
He had some hits. They weren't all made in the studio. So are you a fan of James Brown's music? What do you know about James Brown?
You know, I'm so glad you started that introduction by saying what song is his, because I was about to be really embarrassed when I had to tell you I don't know him at all.
You don't know him at all?
Well, I do now that you
do. You know him, but you don't.
No, I have heard the name.
Okay.
In passing, but
okay. In passing. So that means you just like.
No.
Like, you know, if I showed you a picture of James Brown, you know who James Brown is.
No.
Can we show a picture of James Brown?
Yeah, I would love to see him. This is oh my god, does he have a toupee?
No, he has like the hair.
That's a wig.
No, it's not. It's his hair.
He's getting his hair relaxed.
Yeah, he gets his hair relaxed.
Mm-hmm. Okay, he's a little chunk. He's a little chunk. Is he short?
I think he's like 5'7", 5'8".
Okay, it's giving roly-poly-oly.
One of my favorite things about James Brown, they have this it's a meme of him where it's like, this what ribs look like when they're ready with barbecue.
And it's James Brown.
It's a picture of him. Yeah, he's the hardest working man. Look at that. He wears.
Oh, he's not a chunk. Never mind. He just has he's got that face. Maybe did he do a lot of drugs?
Yeah, he's got
a
lot of drugs.
He's got a heroin face. He's got a face for heroin.
You've heard the song "I Feel Good." That's
Is that him? Oh, okay,
yeah,
so I know him. See, I'm really bad. Like I can't put names to what they've done or faces, but I am familiar with some stuff.
Yeah, he's the godfather of soul music. He was one of my idols growing up. He was also one of the Michael Jackson's idols growing up. He was a great dancer. I actually did this song in a play. It was like not a play, like a variety show. It's called Please, 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 where he's literally just begging the girl to stay, don't go. He's like, please, please, don't go. But he does this whole thing where he has this guy come out and he puts a cape around him and then he walks out and then he comes back. You've never seen that?
Mateen, I have no. You may as well be speaking Mandarin right now.
That is one of the most iconic things, in showbiz, is where the guy comes out, right?
Do we think culturally, when I was growing up listening to Elton John and Melissa Etheridge, maybe we had a little bit of a dip?
So, your dad didn't listen to James Brown?
No.
What were you guys doing in fucking Wisconsin?
I don't even want to say.
Just drinking beer and making cheese and hating black people.
That was it.
Welcome to Wisconsin.
Welcome to my house. Yeah.
Drinking beer, eating cheese, and hating black people.
Yeah, I don't. It wasn't hate.
But you know I feel good. You know that song? I feel good.
Yeah, I don't know a person who doesn't know that song.
Okay, yeah. It's I tap danced to that song.
What was it like to tell your dad you were gay?
No, it was not to tell my dad I was gay. There were other things.
He knew.
He already knew that. But no, I tap danced that song. I played a barbecue chip, and we danced "I Feel Good." And
okay.
Yeah, that song is dear to my heart. But here's some general knowledge about Mr. James Brown. He was born in 1933 in South Carolina, but he was raised in Augusta, Georgia by his great aunt, who took him after his parents' divorce when James was 5 years old. He grew up in the segregated South during the Great Depression of the 1930s, so I'm sure he was not having the best of times being a black man. So he was so poor, he was sent home from grade school for insufficient clothes. And that might explain why he loves all his outfits. So like if you look at James Brown and you see all his outfits, he wears a lot of extravagant outfits.
We would call them sufficient.
Sufficient. Yeah, those are definitely sufficient clothes. Yeah. He would go to tent revivals and see charismatic preachers and listen to gospel music, all clear influence on his musical style and performance style. Have you seen Rocky?
I wish he would have done a Billy Madison and gone back to school in his outfits and just tap danced.
Look at me now, mother.
I feel good.
Yeah. Have you seen Rocky?
I know
4?
the gist.
Rocky 4.
No.
So in Rocky 4, when Apollo Creed is going to fight Ivan Drago, James Brown sings, "I'm living in America."
You got a little voice on you, Mateen.
Yeah, a little bit. Like James Brown. In the now.
Jesus Christ.
He sounded like that.
Who's this white boy?
That's that's James Brown. Look.
Well, now I know that's James Brown, but who's that? Sorry, we're watching a music video. I'm not.
No, we're watching the scene where.
What is it? Is it not
Apollo Creed? It's from Rocky 4 before Apollo Creed goes out and meets his demise. Spoiler alert.
Okay, so who is the guy?
That's James Brown.
Right.
Not that. That's the woman.
Who's got the buzz cut?
That's Apollo Creed is about to get killed.
Oh, that guy?
No, that's Ivan Drago. Dolph Lundgren.
Woo! I mean, I wouldn't recommend watching a movie this way. I thought it was a music video.
She did think it was a music video, but it looks like it. He went to reform school after getting in trouble for breaking into cars with some friends. At the Alto Reform School, he formed a gospel group called The Flames, which eventually attracted the attention
of the
singer,
homosexuals.
No, of Little Richard. Of course, Little Richard was like, "Woo! I want these flames, boys." Woo! Little Richard. Yeah, Little Richard. It caught his attention, a gospel group called The Flames. This would subsequently lead to Ralph Bass, an A&R man from King Music label, to take the group to Cincinnati to record. The label's own Sid Nathan hated their first recording, Please, 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 but it went on to sell 3 million copies and ignite Brown's career. So Please, Please, Please is the song that I sang. And it's literally just him saying, "Please, please." It's like, "Please, please don't go." That's it. "Darling, please don't go, 'cause I love you so." That's what he said. One of the most influential musician, vocalists.
Do you think maybe she left because she was getting struck?
She was getting beat up.
She was getting hit.
She was getting hit.
She was the first of many hits.
The first of many hits. Excuse me. One of the most influential musicians, vocalists, and dancers of the 20th century. Brown's music would be associated with Black national movement, would be recruited by politicians to calm cities going through civil unrest. His music spawned dance crazes. His music would be associated with blaxploitation movies.
Did you just make one word out of two?
No, blaxploitation.
Oh,
that's the thing.
That's a word?
Yeah. You never seen a blaxploitation music?
No,
movie?
What's that?
So movies like Superfly. I don't know if Shaft would be considered.
I don't know.
The Mac. These are like back in the 70s. There was like this genre of movies where it was like silly ass like black movies. Foxy Brown was one of the characters that came up and played by Pam Grier.
Yeah, I missed these.
Grier,
I was inside my dad's nutsack, so I wasn't around.
Blaxploitation. That's the thing. She goes, "Did I just make up a word?" We're teaching Brittany some things here. James Brown is also one of the most sampled musicians of all time. A lot of artists sampled his music, his bass lines, etc. Chuck D was quoted as saying, "There'd be no hip hop without James Brown." You know who Chuck D is?
Yes, but only because of my ex. He has a Chuck D book about rap.
About rap, okay. Yeah, Chuck D, he is the leader of Public Enemy. But James Brown's music blended blues, jazz, gospel, and country. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1986. He had a Lifetime Achievement Award at the Grammys in 1992. And in 2003, he was honored by the Kennedy Center. And he is also, like I said, he's known as the hardest workingest. That's how he was announced. Everyone, he'd be like, ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for the hardest working man in show business, James Brown. And he died on Christmas Day in 2006. So yeah, you didn't know any of that about James Brown?
No.
So you didn't,
I'm still a little confused.
Would you consider yourself hardworking?
Don't you do this to me?
No, I'm asking you.
Yeah. Yes and no. I'm like the hardest working lazy person you know.
That is the most accurate description of you, I think.
Yeah, like I work really hard in spurts.
Yes.
And then I go into a shell and I'm a hermit and I hate it and I want to quit and I want to run away to the woods and then you hug a tree.
Then you text me and you call me and I talk you down.
And then you fucking yell at me all the time. All you do is yell at me.
Because I believe in you so much. Even when you don't believe in you.
That's very sweet, but I don't think it's that. I think it's you want to ride my coattails.
Of course, yes. I put in a lot of effort to ride these coattails. I'm waiting for you to get super famous. So
I mean, listen, we're doing it.
We're here.
We're fucking working. Have I not brought you with me every step of the way?
We've come a long way.
Yeah, we've come a long way.
Thank God you're so pretty.
Oh my God. I didn't tell you, or I did. I texted you about it. I had another moment at the Improv the other day where I was on stage sweating bullets, bombing my ass off. Mike, you might have been at that show. Yeah, Mike was there. I'm sweating. I'm not doing well. I'm not doing real well. And this girl's like, "You're so pretty." And I was like, I'm going to fucking kill myself. Like, do you guys want me to hang myself? And then I told the whole story about bombing when we went on the road together and everyone. So basically, long story short, Mateen and I, the first time I ever headlined, I brought Mateen with me to feature. Usually if Mateen does well, I do great. Like, that's kind of the setup. If Mateen does well, I'm going to fucking body. And Mateen went up there and fucking crushed. And so I was like, oh, piece of cake, easy peasy.
We got it.
I go up there, and when I say you could hear a pin drop for 45 minutes,
because we have to preface it.
No.
There was another opener. I'm not gonna say. She's part of like a Christian like Bible group, and a lot of the audience was like.
I would say 80% of the audience was her Bible group, and she didn't tell me. And I was like, hey, did you not watch my comedy beforehand? Because it's about rape, abortion, and suicide. So maybe don't bring your fucking Bibles. They were praying for me. That's what the noise was. It was prayer. And afterwards, when you do a comedy show, you stand outside and you talk to the audience. And people were coming up to Mateen and they were saying, you were so funny.
So funny.
You stole the show. You were great. And then they looked at me and they were like, you're so pretty.
And these two older white women. And then they just kept saying it. It
wasn't
wasn't
no, you're just so pretty.
They just kept saying it. And I was like, are they trying to fuck her? But then the whole time I'm looking at her face and she knows. I can't wait. So we always have this running joke when everything. I'm like,
when everything's going really bad.
I was like, you're so
pretty. And I had it happen to me again the other day, just bombing. And this girl, you're so pretty. And I was like, I'm going to fucking lose it.
But you got them back.
I got him back. I did get him back after I told him that story, and then they were like on my side. And then I was like, well,
we will always have that. That's going to be on your tombstone. You're so pretty.
You're like really pretty.
Yeah. So here's some other things that you did not know about James Brown. He was also almost called Joe Brown. Joseph, his middle name, was supposed to be his first name, but accidentally reversed on his birth certificate.
Do you want to know something crazy?
What?
When I was born, my parents went and got an ultrasound to figure out what I was, and they thought they saw a dick. So when I was born, my name was Brandon James.
Brandon
Schmitt.
James.
Mm-hmm. And then they're like, oh, it's a girl.
It's a girl.
My dad was like, fuck.
Yeah. So they thought you were going to be a boy, and they prepared for you to have.
My name was Brandon James when I was born, and then they're like,
and so how'd they get Brittany?
I've just thrown shit at the wall. It was between Brittany and Tiffany, and then my grandma was like, "Don't name her Tiffany because for short it's Tiff, and that's a fight." Which hindsight 2020, that would have been perfect. And Brittany short is Brit, and my grandma's from England, so they're like, "Do that."
Call you Brit. She's a Brit.
She's a Brit.
Yeah, they actually reversed it on his birth certificate. So for me, on my birth certificate, they put my two. So I have four names. I have two.
Yeah,
middle
you've
names.
got some weird ones in there.
Yeah, but they put my first name and my middle name together.
What are those?
So my name.
What's your name again?
So my name is Mateen Labib Mashawn Stewart.
Labib, that's the one that Labib, I wish was your first name.
Labib
You're
Mashawn
much
Stewart.
more of a Labib.
Yeah, and so on my birth certificate, for the longest I had to go get it changed. It was Mateen Labib as So I wouldn't be able to get my license or whatever.
Right.
So I was called Mateen Labib, but I got it fixed. Do you know where your birth certificate is right now?
Yeah. So my mom, who was borderline personality disorder and always did fun shit on my birthday. One of the last things I got from her is she sent me a care package to LA with my birth certificate in it, and her name was crossed off. It said "not your mom" in red marker. I'm like, do you know how much you have to hate your kid to deface a legal document?
Not your
mom.
Yes.
And then, I mean, she was so petty. It was, honestly, she deserves an award. But when we had to sell her house after she died, you know, when you're a kid and like, I don't know if you had this, but we put little footprints and then like a quarter with the year that we were born. Yeah, on our front porch. So I was like, oh, I want to go see my little footprints. And I went over there and my sisters were there and mine were gone.
Oh, wow.
I'm
She's cemented over you.
I'm like, do you know how bad you have to be to go to Home Depot and mix cement?
Like, not today. Here's these footprints.
Yeah. So I'm like, I feel like she did that probably at the same time, like defaced a government document and then covered my footprints.
That's commitment.
Yeah. Honestly, good for her.
Yeah. She covered speaking of feet.
Yeah.
He used to shine shoes. He's quoted as saying, you know, in Augusta, Georgia, I used to sign shoes on the steps of the radio station. I think we started at 3 cents. Wow. And then we went to 5 and 6. Never did get a dime. But today I own a radio station. You know what that is? That's black power. It's knowing what you are talking about. Being ready.
What?
It's in knowing what you're talking about, being ready.
Okay. Do you think you had a foot fetish? Who's signing feet?
No, he's shining shoes, not signing feet. And here's the thing: if it sounds like whatever, that's a quote from him.
Sometimes I black out when you talk because you
don't. Yeah, you
can't stand you.
You can't stand me. But that's if I say something nonsensical, other than like other times, and it's a James Brown quote. It's him. It's not even me. It's not me. It's just him.
Okay.
According to the Atlantic and the Independent, James Brown was raised in and lived in his aunt's brothel. His aunt was Aunt Honey. Yeah, all these hoes here. Aunt Honey. She was the madam of the brothel James lived in at the age of 6. At the brothel, James was frequently beaten by his father and other male tenants and was expected to contribute to the rent by procuring customers in addition to shining shoes.
Oh, so damn.
They had him working.
That's a very Richard Pryor upbringing.
Yeah. I think that was a lot of these guys that like came from the scums.
Yeah.
Greatness. He didn't always want to be a musician. In fact, as a young man, he wanted to be an athlete, a baseball player, and a boxer. He didn't see his mother for 20 years. So after his parents divorced, his mom went away. He didn't see her for 20 years. And per the Village Voice, who quoted his mother saying, he had to stay with his father. We parted because I was going to New York to work in the factories and I couldn't care for him. I didn't see him for over 20 years. Then I went to the Apollo, waited in line, going around the block. And after his show, people brought him to see me and my 2 sisters on the 3rd floor of the Teresa Hotel above the Apollo. I turned it into a game. See if James could tell which one of us was his mother. He knew right away. Like, come on, bro.
What a fun game. Yeah. Like, you abandon him and then you make him guess. Like,
okay, which one of us is your mother? Find the mother, not the mother.
Mommy.
So he was a big Richard Nixon guy. Like, he loved Richard Nixon. He actually performed Say It Loud at Richard Nixon inauguration ball in 1969, and he endorsed Richard Nixon's reelection in 1972. So you heard that song, Say It Loud.
Yeah.
I'm black and I'm proud. I don't.
Do you think Richard Nixon was as big of a fan of him?
I think everybody's a fan of James Brown. I think he's one of those guys that like transcends race,
do you think
color, creed.
While he was doing Watergate shenanigans, he was listening to James
Brown? Yeah, Say It Loud.
That was the soundtrack to Watergate.
Say it loud. You don't want to be loud.
No.
Don't say it loud. Be quiet.
James,
Be quiet. Keep it hush.
Yeah.
This is not one of my favorite things about James Brown. He also loved Strom Thurmond. So Strom Thurmond.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he's a South Carolina senator, and he was a segregationalist. So he was like pro-segregation.
And James was like, yeah.
Yeah.
You know what's crazy? I went on a date with a guy recently, and it was going really well. And then at the very end, he was talking about how his parents are from South Carolina, and I was like, oh, are they racist? and he fucking blew a gasket at me. He's like, why would my parents be racist? Blah, blah, blah.
From
I'm like,
South Carolina.
I'm sorry, what are you talking about? I was like, South Carolina is one of the most racist places in America.
Yeah, they just took off the Confederate flag off their state flag like 2 years ago.
I know. He fucking went orbital on me, and I was just like, okay.
Yeah,
I was like, thou doth protest too much. It
Yeah,
sounds
exactly.
like
So,
your
yeah.
daddy,
Yeah.
your daddy's the Grand Wizard,
he's
bitch.
the Grand Wizard.
Yeah.
Just like Strom Thurmond. Strom Thurmond filibustered in opposition of the Civil Rights Act of 1957, but James Brown said that he was a great man for our country, and he described Strom Thurmond as like a grandfather to me. And that's weird. I don't get it. Strom Thurmond was like, if you look up racist in the dictionary, he was like the epicenter of racism. That's weird, James. I don't fuck with
That is weird, but I mean, isn't that not abnormal?
I mean, there's Stockholm syndrome.
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
thingy.
There's something about that psychologically where like you want the approval of the people that don't approve of you.
Yeah, and he was like big in South Carolina at the time. At his busiest, he would perform an average of 5 or 6 nights a week.
Oh, can you imagine?
Yeah.
No. I'd retire.
I saw this
Can you imagine?
thing the other day. This girl had posted like she had followed this comic in New York, and he had did like 7 shows in a night. I go, oh my god, that's my fucking nightmare. That does not seem fun.
Nothing is fun.
No, 7 shows in a night.
I mean, 1 per week.
Yeah. You just don't want to work. It's okay. We'll be at that point soon where she won't have to work. I'll still be working because I have to.
Because you'll be doing my job.
I'll be doing her job for her. James was a big PCP user. In 1988, he went.
I'm starting to like him.
He went to an insurance company next to his office with a shotgun and said strangers were using his bathroom. Mm-hmm. And when the cops came, he led them on a car chase from Georgia all the way back to South Carolina, during which he tried to ram a cop car with his pickup truck, and cops.
With a pickup truck? That's got good gas mileage. How are you not running out of gas?
Yeah. And they had to shoot out his tires. So yeah, he got
at least it was just his tires.
Yeah, exactly. He's James Brown after all. He was married.
Did they know that?
Yeah, they knew it was
him.
Okay.
Because
he went to this insurance company with a shotgun and was like, "Hey, these strangers is trying to use my bathroom. I feel good.
I feel good.
I'm black and I'm proud.
It might be the PCP.
It might be Please. More PCP, please. He was married 3 or 4 times, depending on who you ask. According to Yahoo, his marriage. Exactly. He was married 3 or 4 times. They don't know. According to Yahoo, his marriage to his last wife was ruled illegal because her previous marriage had not been annulled. In other words, when James Brown married his last wife in 2001, she was still married. How many children does James Brown?
What a whore.
Yeah, what a whore. How many children?
Depends who you ask.
Yeah. How many children? Oh, excuse me. How many children does he have? Well, no one knows because James.
It's like Akon.
He made it rain. He shot up the club a lot. According to an article in People magazine, James Brown, his will listed 6 children. Other sources claim that James Brown eventually recognized as many as 9 illegitimate children, I guess.
9 on top of the 6?
Yeah.
Okay, so 15.
Yeah. His will excluded a young boy named James Brown Jr., who lived with Brown at the time of his death.
You're going to fucking exclude Junior?
Yeah, he excluded a junior.
Damn.
After James Brown died, a DNA test revealed 2 additional children.
See, that's why I thought you made that word up earlier, because sometimes you do that.
Yeah, I told you. It's James Brown, it's not me. James Brown's estate was mired in litigation for 15 years after he died, involving many lawsuits. Per the New York Times, between his children, former romantic partners, and administrators, the litigation delayed a central notion of the will, which was scholarships for underprivileged children. He wanted to give back money for kids that didn't have any money. Just not his
kids.
Yeah, and something Brown, he really wanted that. And after 15 years, a resolution, administrators were able to fund the trust, and that was it wasn't until 2021.
Oh, wow.
Until everything was resolved.
Pandemic.
Yeah, 2021. Mr. James Brown. He suffered from deals that effectively sold off his rights to his own music. He signed a lot of bad deals. A lot of bad deals that gave away his music. Brown signed deals
So did he even have any money?
Yeah, he had money.
Okay.
But he would have had way more money.
Right.
He signed deals that transferred ownership of his compositions to various publishers. Federal law gives heirs to the rights to terminate those transfers decades after the initial deals, because a lot of people made bad deals. So if his heirs could be like, yo, this was a bad deal, we want our money back. And another element Brown heirs had squabbled over in litigation. So they were just fighting over all this money, and it just came.
That's always how it happens. It's like, why even make all this money?
Yeah.
I mean, I want to make all of that money, but then spend it all. So whenever I die, everyone who thinks they're getting something is like, whoa, she spent it all.
That's why I was like, that's what Charles Barkley said. You want to die with $0 in the bank.
Yeah.
And then, you have good life insurance.
Back down to zero.
Do you talk about your will with your dad?
With who?
His will with you talk about your dad's will at all? His will?
I mean, like, in passing, we've briefly spoke about it, but my dad got fucking raked in his 2 divorces. So he's just like rebuilding.
Twice. Yeah.
It's like,
He's not married now.
No.
Okay.
He's living his best life. He's super happy.
Yeah. No sleeves.
What?
No sleeves.
What does that mean?
He never has sleeves on.
Never had sleeves on.
Yeah. Always did the cutoff.
Yeah.
Yeah, my dad's getting into it now.
Into the writing a will?
Well, he had a will. He has a will. I mean, my mom was very prepared for it, even it being so sudden that she died.
Yeah.
She was very prepared, which makes me seem like maybe she knew something that she didn't want to tell us about it. But even now, me having a kid, I didn't think about my will until I had a kid, because I had nobody to leave anything to. So
yeah, I had a will with my ex-husband, and then when we got divorced, he got everything. So not like he got everything, but he has the house, he has all the things that like I could have left. So now I just have cash, and everything still goes to my ex-husband. Because we're still close. So I'm like, if I die, you can have my money. I don't care. There's nobody else that I care about more to have it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when he kills her, and
he said that.
We know who does it.
That because
if she gets murdered, we know who did it.
I had an astrologist tell me that I'm gonna get murdered for my money, and I told Chris that, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm just holding out to fucking murder you for your cash."
Oh man, Chris, holla at me, dog.
Yeah, you guys can get. You know how easy it would be for you two to murder me.
Yeah.
There's no 2 people I trust more in the world. It would be so easy for you guys to take me out.
Put her out. Put her Diet Coke.
But you both love me too much.
Yes, and I'll never kill you. So where we
just
at?
Kill me slowly with fucking encouragement.
Yeah, I'm that's me. So his ex-wife, who exercised the termination rights to 5 of Brown's songs and then sold them back to his primary musical publishers for $1.8 million before her status as his
still not a lot of money
was struck down by the court. So she canceled. So when he died, she canceled some of the deals and got some of his publishing back, and then she sold it back to them to get the money for $1.8 million.
Still not a lot of money. Not enough. 1.8 for those fucking hits.
5 songs, yeah.
For those bops.
Mr. Brown, he sold more than 50 million records. That's records. No streaming.
50.
That's records.
50 million? That's not that many.
Yeah,
Hasn't Jay-Z sold like 1 billion?
No, those like streams.
Jay-Z was on a podcast saying, my uncle told me I would never sell 1 million records. I've sold 1 million records 1 million times.
I don't know. That's some bullshit.
Can we see if Jay-Z sold 1 billion records?
I don't think I think that's 1 billion streams, maybe. No, I don't think he sold 1 billion records.
That's so many records. But why would he say it if it's not true?
Jay-Z says a lot of things. What does it say about Jay-Z?
I feel like he's pretty honest. 140 million records. Okay, so he did not do that.
No, streams.
Yeah, maybe he's thinking streams.
So 50 million, according to the Songwriters Hall of Fame. If it seemed like it'd be cool to be married to James Brown, it wasn't.
It
was not cool. It was not cool to be married to James Brown. James Brown's daughter, Yama Brown. That's a hell of a name. Yama. Y-A-M-M-A. Yama Brown wrote a memoir entitled Cold Sweat, which talks about James beating his second wife, Dee Dee, over and over again.
And I would imagine it's called Cold Sweat because she probably talks about him being a drug addict.
Maybe, but he has a lyric in a song like, make me wake up in a cold sweat.
Because he's a drug addict. That's where that came from.
Step back, make me want to kiss myself.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Okay.
Yeah, cold sweat. I never thought about that. Yeah, that's
He's a drug addict.
Vulture published an excerpt which included quotes describing the beating as like thunder rolling through the house when Dee Dee was thrown against the wall. And quote, after that, the house would go completely quiet. The sound of silence was the worst because that's when Deanna is another one of his daughters, and I would wonder if our mother were alive or dead, and if we would be next.
Were you ever around violence when you were younger?
Not like, I had an uncle that would beat my aunt and just beat her into his matter. And he was into Kung Fu. He was I know.
Sorry, that's not funny.
No, but he was like, but then he would like.
All I think of is the Kung Fu Panda.
Yeah, he was like in the and then, I mean, I had another.
Imagine? Sorry, it's so bad to get beat.
No, it's fine.
But you just get hit with a karate chop in the throat.
Like somebody's fucking Kill Billing you. Like,
jugular.
I didn't make that noise. What's up? That makes it funny if someone's like, get over here, bitch. What's up?
You know when you're about to get your ass kicked and he puts his kimono on? It's like, hang on, let me go get my...
Don't make me go get my gi.
Yeah.
Oh,
his nunchucks come out.
He come home like, Dad got his gi on. We're gonna get fucked up.
Mom's gonna get her ass kicked. I'm so
hilarious.
sorry. I didn't mean to make light of... Yes, I did.
Yes, you did. That's why we're here. It's fun. But yeah, he used to. And then like I just remember just being, just disappear. And then this was before I was alive, but I guess my aunt, she had an abusive, he ended up killing her. Yeah. And then
mom's side or dad's side?
Mom's side.
Ooh.
And then then he
like how do you kill her?
Gunshot. Yeah.
Well, at least it's not bare hands.
And then it wasn't. And then I don't really know the whole story of that, but he killed her, and then he pled insanity, and
got off.
And he only spent like 10 years in jail, I think.
Yeah.
But then he died a violent, like cancerous, like awful death years later. So I guess that
karma doesn't miss a step. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I remember when I was in college, I moved into like this shitty apartment, and the landlord lived upstairs with his wife, and he would I had never been exposed to any violence ever, as I had a very cush upbringing. I mean, not really, like verbal assault on a daily basis.
Yeah.
My mom would put me in a headlock, the normal stuff, but like I would never witness, like my dad was a very gentle person. But I remember I was like 18, I moved into this apartment, and he would just like throw her against the wall, kick her ass. Like it was fucking crazy. And then he'd come down in the morning and knock on the door and be like, is everything good here? And I'm like dude, checking to make sure we're not going to call the cops. He's like, sorry about last night. It just got
crazy.
Yeah, I'm like, it became like a white noise machine. Yeah. Like I couldn't fall asleep if she wasn't getting her ass kicked.
Oh my God.
I was like, if there's not tumbling going on upstairs, how do I know?
So I had an incident in college too, where I guess this girl that I was like into this chick, and I finally got her to go out with me, and we went on a few dates. But I guess she had like a crazy boyfriend, but she didn't tell me that. And then like we were like in the midst of hooking up or whatever, and I just hear boom, 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 and I'm like, what the fuck is that? She goes, I know you in there with that alpha motherfucker. That's my fraternity. I was like, that means he's been following us.
Yeah,
and he knows that whatever.
Also, the only time you're going to be called alpha.
I know, exactly. Piece of shit. I'm a member of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. I will always be an alpha.
He's a beta. Mateen is a beta bitch.
No, I am not, dude. I am not a beta.
What's the one that's right in the middle when you're neither?
Well, I don't know.
There's a word for it, but Sigma?
I'm not a Sigma.
Pi.
What the fuck? Sigmas are weak, bro. Phi Beta Sigmas.
Oh, shut up, Mateen. You're weak.
I am not weak, bro. I like to think that I am weak, but I'm on top.
You know Kung Fu.
I know Kung Fu. Don't make me karate chop you. And then so she ended up calling police, and she had a restraining order, so he ended up going to jail because then he broke his probation, so he ended up like going to big boy jail. And then I guess my friend, she was in a violent situation, and she had a stalker, and she didn't tell me. She didn't tell me that she had a stalker. So I'm walking around New York City with her, like living my life, and I'm like, you gotta tell me that you got a stalker, because like,
so I can not hang out with you.
Yeah, because I'm not
I'm a
like
beta bitch, and
I
will do nothing.
Because he's gonna think that I'm with you, and I'm not. So, if you have a stalker, tell your friends, because you don't want your friends to get killed.
That's like my biggest fear.
Yeah, to get a stalker.
Yeah, I don't even want to say it out loud.
Okay, we're not gonna claim that. At age 5, Yama claims. She saw
Yama
this.
claims.
Yama claims,
Yama.
quote, my mother was dressed in her blue and white robe. Her legs were splayed wide open, and my father was straddling her, pummeling her with his clenched fist over and over again.
Aww.
Blood spurted from her face. She started thrashing around, kicking her legs, holding her arms off to ward off the punch, and trying to break free, trying to free herself. Yama would, in turn, go on to be married to a physically abusive man herself, says The Hollywood Reporter.
So the worst thing they did was not name her Yama.
Yeah. I know, we do not condone violence on anybody.
Please don't punch.
Yeah, don't punch. Don't hit
punch
people.
my mom. It's just a pile of ashes.
Yeah, exactly. Don't hit anybody. CNN once tried to press James Brown on charges that he had beaten his third wife, Adrienne Rodriguez, with a lead pipe and fired a gun at the car. Yes. He was crazy.
A lead pipe?
He beat her with a lead pipe.
Have you ever gotten your ass kicked?
No.
Really?
No, okay.
Me neither.
Once I got into I've never been in a fight in my dog, but once I got jumped because I had hit this kid in the face accidentally playing basketball. He was on my team. And then all his friends end up like jumping me for some reason, even though it was an accident.
Yeah.
And I was just like, and then the guys that I came to the court with, they didn't even help me. So yeah. And then I just ran because I got jumped.
Yeah, that sucks. I'm sorry.
You haven't been in a fight?
I have been in a fight, but I was the aggressor and it ended right after I punched her.
It was 2 punches.
It was 1-2, and then I broke my hand. So like, did I really win?
No. It's tough to fight people.
Yeah, and also it felt horrible. Like when I was done, I was like, that wasn't the solution at all.
No,
like,
fighting is never the answer.
What the fuck was I thinking? It felt horrible. It still feels horrible talking about it. I'm like, and also I'm gonna like have arthritis in my hand from this.
How old were you?
I was in college.
Okay.
My roommate was acting up.
Yeah.
I had to fucking.
You had to put it down.
I had to lay it down.
But you didn't hit her with a lead pipe or fire a gun at her car.
No,
did you?
no.
Well, that's what James Brown did. And he participated in an interview while clearly high on something. The interviewer asked him about this trouble began, and he simply replied, "Living in America." Here's a collection of incidents with James Brown's third wife, Adrienne Rodriguez. Adrienne filed for divorce in March of 1988. She showed a National Enquirer photographer bruises on her face and bullet holes in her bedroom. He was shooting up the house. She was arrested in April at the airport with 8 grams of PCP, which she claimed were planted by men Brown hired to pressure her to drop the...
What a lousy shot he is, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, how many times are you going to shoot at a bitch and miss?
Yeah, he's just shooting up the house.
He's probably high on PCP, seeing like gremlins on the wall.
Have you ever done PCP?
No. Come on, Mateen. I mean, maybe. But like, I don't know about it.
Oh,
you know, I didn't ever actively...
What is PCP?
It's a very wild hallucinogen.
I just know PCP from Training Day when he's like, you ever get wet, Jake? PCP, angel dust. Yeah. Is it angel dust?
Angel dust is crystal meth.
It's all the same shit.
Angel dust, supergrass,
PCP
rocket.
is angel dust. Yeah,
I thought angel dust was
rocket fuel.
Crystal meth. No.
PCP is often sold as a white powder. The powder can be inhaled, snorted, or mixed with tobacco or cannabis and then smoked. It also can. Okay, so yeah. If your weed,
you can do it anyway. You can also.
So, Mike, if they say your weed is laced, that's what it means. It's laced with PCP.
You know what? The first time I ever smoked weed, my sister ratted me out for coming home late, and my mom gave me a drug test, and it came back positive for cocaine, PCP, and marijuana.
Wow. So yeah, it was laced.
Or the drug test was bad. Because I don't think I got that fucked up. I remember.
But you don't know. You were young. So
I was young, but I wasn't on PCP. I think I would have known if the first time I smoked weed, it was actually PCP.
But if it's your first time, you would know.
No, I remember being like, this is it.
Oh, wow.
I think the drug test
it was setting you up for the rest of your days.
Gave me things to aspire to. I didn't even know all those drugs existed until she gave me the drug test.
But drugs weren't your thing, though. You were an alcohol person.
I was an alcohol person, but I was also a drug addict.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. I did Molly. I used to sell Molly when I first moved to LA.
Oh, okay.
I had like a whole cocaine year where I like miraculously got fat, which is like hard to do on coke. But I was just like doing coke and eating In-N-Out for a year straight.
Wow.
Fucking a gay guy.
You need to write a book.
I already did.
I know, another one that people will read this time.
Mateen, you can go straight to hell.
Yeah, and that's where James Brown wanted his wife to go after he planted that 8 grams of PCP.
Fuck you. I had a girl bring my book to the Improv the other day to get it signed.
I know. I'm just fucking with you.
Okay.
Brown said that his wife is a real stinker. She said...
a real stinker? Can you imagine shooting at somebody and then...
Yeah.
She's a stinker.
He called her a stinker after she was found with all this PCP that he had placed onto her. He says, she set rooms on fire. She's a big old brat. That's
big old brat.
Yeah. 4 days after he said that, Adrian called the cops, was beating her again. He was captured a mile away on another high-speed chase.
Hard to teach an old dog new tricks. I mean, James Brown.
Began in his driveway. So police came, and then he just was like, I'm out of here. Please, don't take me to jail.
I feel good.
No, he always feel good. That's why he feel good.
It's either I feel good or I'm in cold sweats, baby. I do not feel good.
Dude, you were, for someone that didn't know James Brown, you were opening up fucking Pandora's box for me, because these all make sense of him being a drug addict. I feel good. Yeah, well, I know that I would.
It's just so outsider good. Looking in.
So
also,
good.
Drug addicts recognize other drug addicts.
That is true.
Yeah.
Looking in the mirror. A local police officer was quoted as saying he was letting that Lincoln sail, which means he was just flying.
Yeah, he was floor to the floor.
We thought it was a B-17 coming out of there.
Imagine he was going like 12 miles an hour. He's just high on PCP and he thought it was going really fast.
They said they thought it was a B-17 coming out of there. Adrian claimed...
Nobody thought that.
Yeah. Adrian claimed that Brown was also always on PCP. A lot of PCP.
A lot of PC pie.
He does.
PC pie.
Yeah. The Village Voice got a quote from Bob Patton, James Brown's touring manager in the 60s and 70s, saying, James Brown certainly never had a drug problem till he remarried, but he does have one now. He's been smoking a joint or two of PCP a day, probably for the last year or so. So he had like a joint or two a day of PCP.
Okay.
But there were allegations that James Brown beat women long before this PCP became a problem. Bobby Bennett, his former member of his singing group, The Flames, claimed that to Rolling Stones about a girlfriend of Brown's from the 60s. Her name is Tammy Terrell. He beat her. You know Tammy Terrell. You know
the name's familiar.
So Tammy Terrell
T?
She was on the Ain't No Mountain High, Ain't No Valley Low. So everyone thinks that is Diana Ross.
She's hot.
Yeah. She died. She died tragically, I think.
Did James Brown beat her with a lead pipe?
I think how did she die, Mike? It was like an aneurysm or something.
Oh, yeah.
Cancer diagnosis, okay.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so he beat her. He beat Tammy Terrell terrible. She was bleeding, shedding blood. Tammy left him because she didn't want her butt whipped.
He did.
Yeah.
He did beat her ass.
Bennett also alleged he saw Brown kick one pregnant girlfriend down a flight of stairs.
Yeah, well, abortions were hard to get your hands on.
So he kicked her down the stairs.
Yeah.
Bobby Bird, also of the Flames, and his wife Vicki Anderson said that in the 70s, Brown abused his wife Dee Dee, which Yama's mama, something very terrible, like just beat her.
Yeah, it didn't sound good.
Bobby Bird's wife Vicki was quoted as saying, "All women liked his money and his fame. They like being Mrs. James Brown. This is nothing new. The minute he buys you, the first thing is you're his woman. The next will come is those beatings."
Yeah.
So you want to fuck James Brown? The price
is right, baby.
Yeah, get your ass kicked. Bobby Bird claimed on a plane flight to London in 1976, Brown told his wife, quote, and I quote, he quoted, this is his quote, he told her that if you left me, she'd have an album and it would be #1.
Yeah, that sounds like motivation to leave.
Yeah. Vicki, Bobby Bird's wife, replied, I wasn't going to leave my husband for no hit. So Bobby Bird, he tried to get Bobby Bird's wife to leave Bobby. but he didn't. She didn't.
Okay. If beating, we get it.
Yes. He was no
What
picnic.
else?
I
mean, like, it's just like a whole lot of fucking
but
brutalized women.
We're getting to so he was no picnic.
Few PCP joints.
So he was no picnic to his band members either. If band members didn't shine their shoes or dance wrong or play the bad note or their tux was crumpled, they would have to pay a fine. So he wouldn't pay his band.
Yeah.
Like they would work his ass. He wouldn't pay. Like he would get all the money and then they'd be like, James, what the money back? I don't know what the money is. I feel good.
I feel good. He spent it all on drugs. And then he fined them? That's insane.
Yeah, certain dance moves were cues of fines. A hand gesture might mean a $5 fine. If it was repeated 5 times, it meant $25 fine, which was a lot of money in the 1950s and 60s. The stress would result in some band members getting fired or quitting and then being rehired or coming back on the same tour. So he was a master manipulator to his band members. He didn't want to pay them. Yeah, that's it. That's James Brown. That's wife beater. Hardest working man in show
Bad
business.
hair. PCP addict.
Cheap. Didn't pay his band.
Cheap. We don't like him.
He's
okay.
violent. So where would you put James Brown on our scumbag score?
I would say
scumbag scale. Where would you put James Brown on our scumbag scale?
The scummometer.
From the scummometer, from 0 to 100.
I would put him at like 80.
80?
Yeah, it seems like those were pretty brutal beatings, and I don't really stand for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think when you affect generations of people with the way you fucking treat it's just like, no, you're a piece of shit, and then you're also cheap. I don't care that he's high on PCP. That's actually the one redeeming quality about him. He seems like he's really committed to being a drug addict, and like was not like, oh, I'm gonna get help. Like he's like, no, this is the answer. Yeah. So I like that. I like that he committed to something, not his wives.
Not his wives. He committed to beating their ass.
Yeah, he committed to beating their ass. Yeah, I would say 80.
80. I'm going 75. 75. Do we still stand with him? Now that we factor in his legacy, does the good outweigh the bad? Does creating some of the greatest music ever outweigh beating your wife and traumatizing your kids and not paying your band members? I would say I still think his music stands the test of time. I think his legacy on that end, can I separate the art from the artist? I feel like I can, but I do still want to go with the 75 because he is an awful person.
Yeah, he doesn't sound great. Yeah, his music is great. I mean, like, can't deny that.
And I think I would go a little lower if I didn't really like look up to this man as a kid. Like he was just like, he's one of the most iconic people of all time. Like you can go anywhere other than in this room with Brittany and people will know who James Brown is.
Hey, I grew up without TV.
Yeah.
And like radio, I wasn't like allowed to listen to it. So if my parents didn't listen to it, I don't know it. I didn't have like, we didn't have the internet. There was no TV. I didn't.
Yeah, Wisconsin.
I missed a lot.
Drinking beers, eating cheese.
I missed a lot. I wasn't drinking beers when I was a kid. I was just hating black people.
She made up for it. She made up for it in her.
I did my.
Yeah. But yeah, this is that was James Brown. He is a certified scumbag. You went 80. I went 75%. Not 75%. I went 75 on our scumbag score. A question for our fans. Can you still listen to James Brown now without being bothered by his personal life? Or does it affect your enjoyment of his music? Does it? Can you separate?
It's like Michael Jackson. We should do Michael Jackson. Or is he too scummy?
No, we could do Michael Jackson.
We should do Michael Jackson.
That was our show for the day. If you're enjoying Scumbags of History, please prove you're not a scumbag and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening and subscribe for future episodes. I'm Mateen Stewart.
I'm Brittany Schmitt.
And we are Scumbags.
See you later,
later. Peace.